I can assure you that the strategy that is coming from ABB is internal and made by the people here. So now I think we have a numerous of the shareholders, which we of course always take in consideration. But I think definitely we set the strategy for the company.
Very excited about some of the projects that the previous CEOs and you, Björn, since you came in as well, have been looking at as well. The robotic side of things. I always got really kind of fascinated by the shiny things that you produce, but it's not producing the better margins at the moment. Operating margin of 10.6% down from 11.5%. Is that disappointing for you? The fact that despite the fact that you've got the company roughly where you want it now, you've offset the power grid, you've got the money coming back in the buyback for the shareholders as well, that your margins aren't holding up?
I think it's been quite an exciting quarter that we came into. When we went into the group, we knew that would be challenging with all the shutdowns in different parts of the world. We saw a recovery in China, which was quite remarkable, while we see a much weaker U.S., of course, very much affected by the pandemic. Europe in the middle, I would say, on that part. So with that background, I think the mitigation job by the group is okay according to my level, but it's of course never okay to have a lower margin than a year before from my perspective. But it is better than we expected for this tough quarter.
Where do you reckon you're going to get the margins to in the next year, Björn?
Yeah, I've been pretty open speaking with this, and we had a big investor call meeting in January where we put up the new operating model and the direction that we're heading the company. We will have a strong focus on improving the operating margin for the group, and I will not be happy, which I have said, before we reach 15% level.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Look, we mentioned COVID. We haven't mentioned it enough. Your workers, I'm sure, are doing an amazing job, still working with social distance during these really tough times. And you mentioned the US as well. I don't see how we can get a global recovery until the world's biggest economy has got a grip on COVID-19. I'm just interested in what your thoughts are of how we recover without the US recovering, or do you expect the US in the third and fourth quarter to really pick up?
We in this report, we give a little bit of a guidance going forward, and we are actually saying that we believe that third quarter will be a challenging quarter, even though we will see some kind of improvement when it comes on the orders. Revenues will continue to be on a challenging level, and then we should see somewhat better in Q4. But of course, I agree with you, US has to be part of that. That is an important part of the ABB market.
And then we obviously talk about China, and you said you saw a bit of a recovery going on there as well. In fact, defying expectations from many who didn't see that China could recover quite so quickly. Some of the data is extraordinary. Do you have concerns about what we're hearing? We had Mike Pompeo here in the UK yesterday as well, about technology, about the spread of technology between China and the West as well, talking like coalitions of interest potentially against China. This has got to be worrying for businessmen like you who are trying to do business globally.
China has always been a very important market for ABB. We started very, very long ago, and I think we have about 32 joint ventures today in China. 15% of our revenues in this market. And yes, we have seen quite an extraordinary recovery during the last quarter. I think we deal with these issues like every other company. We are, of course, very concerned of our intellectual property, and we treat it with the biggest respect. On the other hand, I think a lot of these intellectual property is also developed in China, as we do a lot of R&D development in the Chinese market with Chinese engineers. So I think we are pretty well integrated.